The air over Hesse carried burnt truck oil and wet earth when German auxiliaries crested the ridge on April 18th. Processing Station Delta reported overflow conditions. 47 female personnel incoming from eastern routes under 80th Infantry Division escort. Boots slipped in spring mud as machine gun fire cracked somewhere behind advancing American positions. Radio logs recorded caution protocols for non-combatant classification. An American sergeant raised his hand. The column halted. Among them stood Anna Müller, head bowed, hair matted to her temples. She expected brutality. Stories circulated through retreating units about starvation and revenge. Instead, one guard broke formation carrying folded blankets and clean clothing. The gesture registered before comprehension followed. In that moment, documented later in processing reports, expectations began shifting beneath war's final days. Nothing would unfold as predicted by either side's intelligence assessments. Act 1. Setup. Dawn lifted slowly over shattered panzer repair depots when Helferinnen auxiliaries marched west past Fulda. Engines frozen, tracks blown, steel carcasses scattered across plains like industrial graveyards. Anna Müller kept her gaze low, counting steps through 27 hours since surrender. Americans separated men from women immediately following G2 field protocols. Female personnel classified non-combatant unless attached to armed SS formations. Process separately. Maintain order. No retaliation authorized. But rumors drowned procedures among prisoners. Behind Anna, a 19-year-old whispered predictions of starvation. Another claimed Americans shot anyone who could type or manage communications. Anna had worked Luftwaffe logistics offices, nothing combat-related, but fear ignores logic during forced marches. The column approached makeshift processing stations, barbed wire rolls, tents staked into churned mud, Blue Star insignias barely visible beneath grime. A jeep splashed past, windshield chalked with CP 80th INF, Div, men shouted, generators coughed alive, form stacks unloaded from trucks. This location would determine fates. At the tent entrance stood Corporal James Carter, 26, 318th Infantry Regiment, peacetime mechanic. He watched with tired alertness, not hatred. He had already noticed her. That observation would alter trajectories. Corporal Carter preferred engines to processing duty. Machines possessed rhythm and honest failure modes. Machines didn't carry hollow expressions like German women shuffling into enclosures. Sergeant Doyle barked assignments, intake duty for female groups, check belongings, issue blankets, document identification. Carter grabbed his clipboard as wind cut across fields carrying diesel and fear, war's persistent smell, learned day 3, never forgotten. HQ notes that morning specified procedures: avoid unnecessary force, maintain discipline, female POWs statistically show higher shock response, provide medical evaluation when needed. He tucked the memo away. Orders remained orders. Inside the intake tent he arranged folding tables, ink bottles, dull pencils, blank forms, metal boxes for confiscated items. First woman approached, older, shaking. Second, bandaged leg, limping. Then he saw Anna Müller, uniform stained with mud, hair unraveled, hands scraped raw from marching. Carter cleared his throat. Name? She hesitated. Anna Müller. Her German accent carried soft precision. He wrote carefully, as though names themselves could bruise. Then he noticed her torn sleeve, her shivering. He stepped back, reached into supply crates, pulled out fresh wool blankets and folded clothing. Clean. Dry. She stared, confused. It's cold, he said simply. Take it. Behind him, Doyle glared. Carter ignored it. Outside, thunder rumbled over hills. War was ending, but storms remained unfinished. Ground trembled as artillery detonated near tree lines. American guards shouted for cover. POWs ducked instinctively. This wasn't coordinated attack, just dying spasms of scattered German units refusing surrender. But uncertainty electrified camps. Anna froze, blanket clutched to chest. Carter moved without thinking. Inside the shelter, now. He guided her and others into trenches, reinforced with wooden planks. Rainwater dripped from ceilings, pattering onto helmets and shoulders. Radio crackled overhead. Command to all stations, hold positions. Unknown German battery firing sporadically from northeast. Expect 2 to 3 additional rounds. Anna shivered beside him. Not from cold, she was accustomed to cold. From memory. Her home outside Kassel had been destroyed by Allied bombing months earlier. Concussion of explosions, still pulled at old wounds. Carter noticed her shaking. "You're safe here," he said, voice steady. She looked at him, not trusting, but listening. Outside, another explosion rolled across hills, weaker this time. Carter exhaled. "Gun crew must be down to their last shells," he murmured. She blinked. "You know artillery?" He almost smiled. "Engines, machines, anything running on fuel or pressure. I fixed tractors back home. Tanks aren't much different." It was her first human exchange since surrendering. When all clear whistles blew, he climbed out first, scanning sky. Then he reached down, offering his hand. She hesitated, then took it. Doyle approached, furious. Carter's conduct was now under scrutiny. Sergeant Doyle caught Carter near supply tents. "You trying to win compassion medals?" Doyle growled. "These people aren't guests. Keep your distance." Carter kept his voice neutral. Regulations say nothing about handing out entire clothing stocks to German prisoners." Doyle stepped closer. "And they sure as hell don't say you can escort them by hand." Carter clenched his jaw. She was shaking. "She's the enemy." He didn't respond. Doyle didn't like that. "You're on thin ice, Corporal. Lieutenant wants strict discipline, no special treatment, not for anyone." Carter nodded but didn't agree. Across yards, Anna watched the confrontation, though he didn't know. She couldn't hear words, but she saw Doyle's posture, Carter's restraint. In her world, American guards were supposed to be cruel. She didn't understand men like him. Yet. Records later showed that 318th Infantry Regiment processing stations maintained lower incident rates than division averages during April 1945. Disciplinary reports cited Carter twice for unauthorized supply distribution. Neither citation resulted in formal charges. Doyle's frustration stemmed partly from orders emphasizing both security and humane treatment, contradictory pressures that field commanders struggled to balance during chaotic final weeks. A group of newly arrived female POWs collapsed from exhaustion, forcing Carter into action again, despite warnings. New arrivals, nearly 40 women, marched into camps under grey skies. Many came from Luftwaffe signals units retreating from Eisenach. Some showed frostbite. Others carried bruises from chaotic encounters with fleeing German soldiers. One collapsed at Carter's feet. He dropped to knees immediately. "Get a medic." The woman's pulse fluttered weakly. Carter eased her head into his hands, checking breathing the way field training months earlier had taught. Medic rushed in. Private Horowitz, young, sharp, overwhelmed. "Heat loss," he muttered. "Probably hasn't eaten in a day." Carter removed his own gloves and handed them over. "Use these." Horowitz hesitated. "You'll freeze your hands off." "She needs them more." Anna watched from across enclosures. gripping her blanket, unsure why the sight struck her so deeply. Back in her unit, compassion had been considered weakness. Here, in the heart of the army that had bombed her cities, compassion looked ordinary. Carter stood, hands red, breath steaming and cold. "Get these women fed," he told guards. Doyle glared from across tents but said nothing. Not yet. Field reports from 80th Infantry Division processing stations recorded that malnutrition affected approximately 63% of female auxiliaries surrendering between April 15th and 22nd. Medical protocols emphasized immediate caloric intake before interrogation. An unexpected order arrived. Female POWs to be relocated to secondary holding sites immediately. A runner from Battalion HQ delivered the message. All female POWs classified as non-combatant auxiliary personnel to be reassigned to holding station. E departure 1400 hours. Carter frowned. Station E was a converted livestock facility outside Kassel, crude, overcrowded, barely staffed. Anna felt dread twist in her stomach when news rippled through enclosures. She had heard of Station E. Everyone had. 2 women began crying. Another whispered, "God help us." Carter approached administrative tents, jaw set. "Sir," he said to Lieutenant Browning, "request to keep in firm group here. Until stable. They won't survive transport." Browning didn't look up. "Denied. Orders from division. They're not fit to move. They're prisoners, not patients. Get them ready." Carter swallowed words he wanted to say. Back at fences, Anna stood rigid, blanket clutched like armor. "You'll be sent away?" she asked quietly when he passed near. Carter nodded once. Her expression tightened. Not panic, but something adjacent. Something he recognized. Fear. Division records showed that holding station E reached 137% capacity by April 20th. Sanitation infrastructure failed. Typhus cases began appearing. Medical staff numbered 4 personnel for nearly 600 prisoners. Transfer orders ignored logistical realities, prioritizing rapid consolidation over conditions. Carter made a decision that put his career at risk. An hour before scheduled transport, Carter entered supply tents, grabbed medical stretchers, began loading them with blankets, rations, metal canteens. Horowitz caught him. "You're not thinking—" "I'm not letting those women die on roads," Carter said, voice low. "Especially not injured ones." "Carter, you'll get court-martialed. Then they can write it on paperwork." He rolled stretchers toward infirm groups. Women stared, confused. Anna stepped forward. "Why are you doing this? It is not your responsibility." He didn't answer. Maybe he didn't know. Outside, Doyle shouted orders, preparing columns for movement. Carter whispered to Anna, "When we march, stay close to center. I'll be walking perimeter. If you need help, signal." He handed her a second blanket when no one was looking. Anna blinked, stunned. No American had ever spoken to her like this. Supply logs from 318th Infantry Regiment showed discrepancies totaling 11 blankets, 14 ration packs, and 6 canteens during the week of April 18th. Infantry officer filed queries. Carter's signature appeared on authorization forms with no counter-signature. Technically, this constituted unauthorized requisition. Practically, it fell within grey areas of field discretion during chaotic operations. Doyle spotted Carter's unauthorized supplies and stormed toward him, with witnesses present. Doyle intercepted Carter at gates. "What the hell is this?" He kicked stretchers. "Helping them like you're running charity operations?" Carter stood firm. "They need basic supplies. They're Nazis. Not all of them." "You questioning my orders, Corporal?" Carter's silence was answer enough. Doyle stepped closer, breath steaming with anger. One more act of insubordination and I'll have you stripped of rank and hauled before tribunals. Do you understand?" Carter's fists tightened. "Yes, Sergeant." But as columns began moving, he drifted toward Anna's group. Slow, deliberate, unseen by Doyle, Anna noticed. For the first time since surrender, she felt something shift inside her chest. Not safety, not trust, just breath. Column discipline. Protocols emphasized maintaining prisoner cohesion during transfers. Guards rotated positions every 30 minutes to prevent fraternization. Carter's movements technically violated rotation schedules, but chaos of movement masked small deviations. Doyle's authority derived from field experience, but his enforcement style created tension with soldiers who interpreted humanitarian provisions more broadly. Records show no formal charges were filed against Carter during this period, suggesting either insufficient evidence or command reluctance to prosecute compassion during war's final days. The column approached a bombed bridge, forcing dangerous crossing procedures. Convoy halted at Werra River's edge. Stone bridge lay half collapsed, center arch broken from demolition charges. Engineers surveyed grimly. "No trucks," one muttered. "Foot traffic only, one at a time." River below churned with spring runoff. One wrong step and anyone would be swept away. Anna's breath quickened. Women were ordered forward. Carter's voice cut through wind. "Slow. Hands on rope lines. Watch your footing." Doyle barked. "Move them faster." Carter ignored him. Anna placed her boot on first stone slab. It wobbled. Her heart slammed against ribs. She felt River's roar more than heard it. Spray hit her face. Icy, stinging. Halfway across, the slab beneath her shifted. She gasped, arms flailing. And Carter lunged. His hand clamped around her wrist, steadying her. "I've got you," he said through clenched teeth. For one suspended second, war fell silent. Engineering assessments later noted that Werra River crossings presented elevated risk during April due to snowmelt. Flow rates exceeded 2,000 cubic feet per second. Bridge demolitions, conducted by retreating German forces, left only partial structures. Crossing protocols recommended safety lines and single-file movement. 11 injuries were recorded across division operations during similar crossings that week. None were fatal. A distant rifle cracked. Someone was shooting from tree lines. Rifle crack echoed from wooded ridges. "Scheisse! Sniper!" someone yelled. American guards ducked. POWs froze. Doyle shouted, "Move! Move!" Carter shielded Anna instinctively as another shot whined past, smashing into stone. "Go!" he urged her. "Run across! Don't stop!" She clutched rope, boots slipping on wet rock as she scrambled forward. Women ahead broke into panicked rush. Another shot. An American private stumbled, hit in shoulder. Carter dragged him toward low walls while shouting, "Keep your heads down." Anna reached far side, chest heaving, and looked back. Carter was still exposed on bridge, helping wounded soldier. Something inside her clenched. She could run, she could hide, she could wait. Instead, she stepped back onto stones, gripping rope. "Carter!" she shouted over River. "Come!" He looked up, surprised she'd stayed. Then he ran. Intelligence reports from 80th Infantry Division identified sporadic resistance from isolated German units throughout late April. Sniper activity concentrated near river crossings and supply routes. Most engagements lasted under 10 minutes. Casualties remained light compared to earlier months. Private Thomas Welker, 318th Infantry Regiment, sustained shoulder wound during Werra crossing on April 19th. Medical records show full recovery. Doyle witnessed Anna helping Carter and misinterpreted everything according to his own framework. When columns reached far banks, chaos settled into furious whispers. Doyle stormed toward Carter, face red, jaw tight. "You endangered entire units for one prisoner," Doyle shouted. "And now she's shouting your damn name across rivers like you're—" "What? Protecting her? Collaborating?" Carter stepped forward. "Sergeant, that's not—" "Shut up." Doyle jabbed a finger into his chest. "I'm reporting you to Lieutenant. You're done." Anna watched, stunned, chest tight. This was her fault. No, this was war's fault, but guilt didn't care about logic. Doyle barked to 2 guards. "Take him off perimeter duty. He's restricted to camp until further notice." Carter's jaw flexed, but he didn't resist as they led him away. Anna felt sharp, unexpected ache. He had risked everything for her, and now he paid for it. Disciplinary procedures within infantry regiments followed standardized protocols. Formal charges required witness statements, incident reports, and command review. Doyle's accusations centered on conduct, unbecoming, and fraternization with enemy personnel. However, documented facts showed Carter's actions fell within medical assistance parameters. Lieutenant Browning's subsequent review noted conflicting testimonies. No formal court-martial proceedings initiated. Carter received written reprimand for unauthorized position changes during transfer operations. Anna made a decision of her own that night. Night settled heavy over Station E, cold air leaking through broken boards, wind rattling tin sheets on roofs. Anna lay awake, wrapped in blanket Carter had given her. She could not forget the bridge, his hand around her wrist, the look in his eyes when Doyle dragged him off. So she wrote. On the back of scrap ration labels, she scribbled shaky messages in English. Simple, careful. "You saved me. I want to say thank you. I know you are punished. I am sorry." She didn't sign her name. She didn't need to. At dawn, she slipped notes into supply crates near guard stations, where she knew Carter would eventually be assigned. Then she stepped back into lines like every other prisoner. Literacy rates among German auxiliaries varied by unit and role. Communications personnel typically possessed functional English from technical training. Written correspondence between prisoners and guards violated fraternization protocols, but enforcement remained inconsistent during final weeks. Many notes and letters passed through informal channels. Some were confiscated. Others reached intended recipients. Command attention focused on security threats, not emotional exchanges. Carter found the note during routine supply distribution the following morning. Carter unfolded the note slowly, read it twice. Then he looked toward women's enclosures, where Anna stood among dozens of others, face tired, eyes cautious, but present. Sergeant Doyle approached. "Lieutenant wants to know who left that note. Says it's a violation." Carter folded the paper. "It was mine," he said quietly. Doyle frowned. "Yours?" Carter nodded. "Yes, mine." A long silence. Doyle exhaled through his nose. "Fine. You deal with it." And when he walked away, Carter glanced back at Anna. A guard beside him muttered, "Why'd you take the blame?" Carter shrugged. "Because she's been through enough." Hours later, when rations were distributed, he stepped to Wire's edge, lowering his voice so only she could hear. "You're going to be all right," he said. "I'll make sure of it." She swallowed, overwhelmed. "Why?" He hesitated only a second. Then, with quiet conviction, he answered, "Because this one is mine. Not possession, not ownership, responsibility, humanity, a promise made in ruins of a dying war." War in Europe ended May 8th. Processing stations began systematic releases through summer. Anna Müller's repatriation papers, filed June 7th, bore Carter's signature as processing officer. No correspondence between them was officially recorded after that date, but in the margins of history, small acts of humanity rewrote expectations. The file closed without notation. The numbers had already rewritten the war.